What's up, folks? It's your bro Richie here. Today's video is now part 4. Part 4 on the Ford modular Ford modular motor. In today's video, I'll be talking to you about the next V8 motor, which is now officially the turn of the 5.4 liter V8 motor. Alright, so before I start, make sure you guys all like the video, subscribe, comment down below what you guys think, hit the notification bell, and hit all so you'll never make any uploads. Alright, so without any further ado, let's begin. So next one, 5.4 liters. Here we go. So the 5.4 liter V8's the 5.4 liter V8's a member of the modular motor family, first introduced in the F-Series pickups of 1997. So first introduced in the 1997 F-Series pickups, so pickup trucks, in place of the 5.8 liter, in place of the 5.8 liter 351 Windsor V8 motor. So in place of the 5.8 liter 351 Windsor V8 motor. Bore diameters 3.55 2 inches, 90.2 millimeter. Bore diameters 90.2 millimeters, 3.552 inches, and strokes 105.8 millimeters, 105.8 millimeters, 4.165 inches. The increased 4.165 inches. The increased stroke necessitated a taller 256 millimeter, 10.079, almost 10.08, so 10.08 inch motor block deck height. 169.1 millimeter. So a 169.1 millimeter, 6.658 inch connecting rod lengths used to achieve a 1.60 to 1 rod to stroke ratio. The 5.2 liter two valves built at the Windsor engine plant, while the 5.4 liter 3-valve version moved production to the Essex engine plant starting in 2003, then back to the Windsor motor plant in 2009. The 5.4 liter SVT SVT 4-valve V8 motors are built at the Romeo engine plant, handcrafted on the niche line. Next, alright, so the first version we got is the 2-valve, introduced in the year 97. So introduced in 1997, the single overhead camshaft 2-valve 5.4 liter V8 has both a cast iron motor block and aluminum cylinder heads. The 5.4 liter features multi-port fuel injection, roller finger followers, fracture split powder, metal connecting rods, and in some applications a forged steel crankshaft. The 2-valve, on the other hand, SOHC. So it's essentially the same when I say it. Anyways, so the 2-valve single overhead camshaft 5. So the 5.4 liter 2-valve single overhead camshaft V8 was on the Ward's 10 best engines list for 1997, 1998, and 2000, 2002. So we've got the vehicles equipped with the 16 valve 5.4 16 valve single overhead cam 5.4 liter motor, which included the following. So there was eight vehicles, well nine, because one of them was not a Ford model, but it still had the same motor. So we got two versions of the Ford F Series. So the first one we got is from 1997 to 1998. It produced 237. It produced 235 horsepower, 330 pound-feet, 447, well, close to 450 newton meters of torque. Then we got another F Series, but from 1999 to 2004, which made a bit more power, a bit more torque, 260 horsepower, and 260 horsepower, and 350 pound-feet, 475 newton meters of torque, with performance improved. Then we got the SVT Lightning from the same year as the F Series, from 99 to 04. From that same year, we have the SVT Lightning F-150 pickup truck from the same year. It made 380 horsepower and 450 pound-feet, 610 newton meters of torque. So 610 newton meters of torque, which was supercharged, ratings for 2001 and later model years. Next, we got the F-150 Harley-Davidson edition from 02 to 03 at 4,500 RPM. It made 340 horsepower, the same as a Mark V Supra. I mean, 40 less than the SVT Lightning, but it's still pretty powerful. Back in the early 2000s, it was pretty good. So yeah, 4,500 RPM, it produced 340 horsepower, and at 3,200 and at 3,250 RPMs, it made 425 pound-feet, 576 newton meters of torque at 3,250 RPMs, which was both supercharged and intercooled as well. Next we got is both the Ford Expedition and the Lincoln Navigator, both from the years 97 to 98. Both produced the same performance, 235 excuse me, 235 horsepower. I said 235 horsepower, 235 horsepower, 235 horsepower, 330 pound-feet, 330 pound-feet, 447 newton meters of torque. The same as the Ford F Series from 97 to 98, pretty much. Next we got is a Ford Expedition from 1999 to 2004, which made pretty much the same performance as the F Series from the same year. 260 horsepower and 350 pound-feet, 475 newton meters of torque, with performance improved. Then we got the Ford Econoline, which was pretty interesting. So Econoline, it's like saying economy, but taking out the word my and putting line into it, and you get Econoline. Kind of weird. Anyways, it was from 97 to 98 with 235 horsepower, 330 pound-feet, 447 newton meters of torque. Essentially the same performance as the F Series and both the Ford Expedition and the Lincoln Navigator. And last but certainly not the very least, we got us the Ford E Series from 1990. Last but certainly not the very least, we got us the Ford E Series from 1999 to 2017. Same performance as the both the F Series and the Expedition. 260 horsepower, 350 pound-feet, 475 newton meters of torque, with performance improved. Alright, next version we got is the 3-valve. So, in 2002, Ford introduced a new 3-valve SOHC single SOHC cylinder head with a VCT, variable camshaft timing, improving both power and torque over the previous 2-valve SOHC version. Improving both power and torque over the previous 2-valve SOHC version. The 3-valve the 3-valve cylinder heads first used on the '02 Ford Fairmont 5.4 liter Barra, so BARRA 220 motor in Australia, manufactured in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. So Windsor, Ontario, Canada. The three valve 5.4 liters introduced to the North American market. So the three valve 5.4 liters. So the three valve 5.4 liters introduced to the North American market in the redesigned '04 Ford F-150. So 2004 Ford F-150. So here are some cars. Pretty much, there's at least like over 10 probably with the same exact motor, which is a 24 valve single overhead cam VCT 5.4 liter motor. So the first ones we got are the Ford Falcon, Futura, Fairmont, and the Fairmont Ghia. All from from '02 to '05, they all make the same performance: 295 horsepower, 350 pound-feet, 470 newton meters of torque. 295 horsepower was pretty powerful back at that time, pretty good. And then with the same performance, but from '03 to '04, we got is both the Ford Fairlane G220 and the Ford LTD, both with the same performance, but from '03 to '04. Then we got both the Ford Fairlane G8 and the Ford LTD from '05 to '07 with 310 horsepower, 370 pound-feet, roughly 500 newton meters of torque. Pretty good. With the same performance, we got also both the Ford Falcon and Fairmont Ghia from '06 to '07 was the exact same performance anyway. Then we got the Ford F-150. There's two versions. So the first one is the 0408. From '04 to '08, it made 300 horsepower, 365 pound-feet, 495 newton meters of torque, apart from the '04 F-150 Heritage model, which was a little bit different. Then we got another F-150, but from 2009 to 2010. So 2009 to 2010, with 310 horsepower and the same exact torque as the previous F-150. The only difference is that the more powerful version was rated at 320 horsepower when using E85 fuel. So the fuel system so the horsepower will verify depending on the fuel system you use. On E85, it'll make a bit more power to it. Pretty good. Then we got both the Ford Expedition and the Lincoln Navigator. There's two versions of these. So the first ones are the 0508. So the first ones are the 0508,